Hi, how's it going? It's Tom from Charles Street, and today I'm going to be demonstrating how to set up the Kessler 8-foot crane with the red camera, and I'm going to be putting it all together and showing you step by step how to do it. The first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure, since you're going to be putting a lot of weight on the tripod and fluid head, you want to make sure that everything is secure, that you've got the tripod on the spreader, that all the legs are fully locked on the spreader. And you want to actually go through and you want to make sure that the legs are locked in place so that nothing is loose, nothing can come loose. And you want to go ahead and you want to put some sandbags on here as well, just in case anybody bumps into the tripod or into the crane, that it won't actually tilt or knock it over, causing damage to your camera. So that's the first thing that you want to do. You want to make sure that everything is secure and everything's safe. There are two main components to the Kessler crane. There's what's known as the tip, which is the front portion of the crane itself, and then there's the base, which is the main component of the crane. The pivot point here on the base is the main point of contact with the fluid head, which attaches with the two screws that are included in the kit, and this is basically where it mounts onto the fluid head itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these aluminum bars from the optional tool kit, toolless kit, sorry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into the base of the crane unit here. And there's a little hole here on the side. And what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these here and we're going to put that into the hole, lining this bar up. And there we go. And we're going to do that on the second side as well. Okay, so once we've got that in there, what we're going to do is we're going to take the front part of the crane and we're going to put that in as well. So we're going to just put those aluminum bars into the front part of the crane. We're going to slide that together. And we're going to take the other two remaining screws here and we're going to put them into the second hole, which should be lined up now once you push it in. And after we've got both of them in there, what we're going to do is at that point, we're going to tighten it. So we're going to tighten it as much as we can, but not over tighten it to break anything. So just want to make sure that it's nice and tight and that it's holding both pieces together. And that's the main joint of the unit, so you want to make sure that it's fairly tight. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to attach this bar here from the base portion of the crane to the front portion, and we're just going to use a bolt here and we're going to feed it through and we're going to tighten that on there. Okay, so we're back here with the tripod, and what we're going to do is we're going to remove the camera screw from the camera plate, and after we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take the two screws that came with the kit and we're going to put them through the bottom, and they're going to be going upwards so that we can actually attach the crane to the tripod. And so it should look like this when you're done. So there's no more camera screw here, and we've got these two screws that are pointing upwards from the plate, and that's what's going to attach the crane to the tripod. So if you find that you're having trouble actually lining these two screws into these holes here where the crane attaches to the tripod, what you can do is you can actually remove the base plate from the tripod itself, or from the fluid head, and you can actually put those two screws, you can actually go ahead and put those two screws through there, and then you can use the wing nuts that come with the kit to just hold them in place. And then what you can do after you've done that is just go ahead and attach the whole thing like that. Since this plate is now connected to the crane, you can go ahead and lift this whole thing on and put it on the tripod, which I'm going to be showing you in a second. The arm on the CSV Sackler tripod will actually bump into the crane itself. So what you want to do, since we're not going to be using the arm anyway, is that we can go ahead and remove it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the crane, the assembled crane, and we're going to put it on the on the tripod here, and I'm just going to get Greg here who's going to help me out and just make sure to properly secure that in. So he's going to release the lever there, and it's going to make sure that it's properly secured in. So at this point you just want to make sure that these are tightened on here, and then we're going to move on to the camera. Because we are using the Red camera here, you want to take all the necessary precautions. It is a heavier camera than most other cameras that you'd be using this rig with, so you want to make sure that everything is nice and secure and everything's put together in a minimal type of setup with the camera. You want to basically remove everything that you can, and that includes this bottom plate of the camera as well. So what you want is you want just the camera body itself. You want to put your lens on there, and the medium you want to be recording to is CF. You don't want to be using a hard drive because that's just going to add extra weight that's unnecessary, and it's going to make it put a lot more strain on the crane itself. So you want to be able to go with as light a setup as possible, and you want to make sure that your camera is set up in that way to reduce any kind of stress on the crane itself, and make sure that you use the equipment safely and properly. Okay, so this is the bottom of the Red camera, and we have two different size holes. I believe this one's 1/4 inch, and this one's, I can't remember the exact size, but you've got the two different sizes. This one here that comes with a crane is the smaller one, and basically it just screws into the smaller of the two holes and just goes in like this. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this camera screw and we're going to thread it. I'm just going to get my camera assistant Greg here to hold the camera. We're going to thread this through the bottom of the part that holds the camera on the front. And what we want to do is we want to align the hole, the small hole of the camera, to the screw. And once we get that, we want to make sure that we tighten it in very securely, because this is where our camera is going to be. We want to make sure that's nice and secure in there. What we're going to do is we're going to loosen these weight locks here, and we're going to flip the weight bar. But what we're going to do is, as we flip it, we're going to only leave one on here. And we're going to feed this through here and make sure this is on nice and tight. Then we're going to take another one of the weight locks, and we're going to put it back onto the weight bar. And what we're going to do is we're going to tighten this one as well to ensure that there's no wiggle of the weight bar and that the weight bar is put on securely. Then we're going to take the third weight lock, and what we're going to do is we're going to tighten it on the weight bar here. And that's going to hold our weights. So after we're done tightening this, again, you want to make sure that all these are tightened on securely so that it doesn't wiggle and it doesn't come loose. During the day, you might just want to, if you're going to be using this the whole day, you might just want to keep checking these to make sure that everything is secure and everything's locked. After we put on the weights, we're going to add the fourth lock onto the weight bar to secure the weights onto the weight bar. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to go ahead and start adding some weights. So after we've got our weights on here, what we're going to do is we're just going to put this last weight lock on here, and that's just going to prevent it from the weights from moving or falling off. And we want to make sure that this is on here nice and tight, because if these weights go, then our camera's going to come down, and we don't want to break our expensive camera. So we want to make sure that everything is always secure, and everything's nice and locked on there, and we just want to make sure that there's no accidents. What we have here is the red belt charger with a red battery, and what I like to do is I like to put it on here. I don't like to actually put this on the front because it's going to add more weight to the whole crane. So what I do is I put it on here, and basically I just get some camera tape and I'm going to wrap it around here and make it secure. We've got the end here, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to plug this into the camera, and that's going to supply power to the camera. And the good thing about getting the battery here is we've removed any additional weight off the camera, and now it's on the right over the tripod. Okay, so now we've got the handle here, And this is going to control the angle of our crane. And to put that on, we're just going to feed the screw through the hole here, and then we're just going to tighten on the handle. And what you'd want to do is just make sure it's nice and tight on there, and then you're ready to go. You can use this to adjust the angle of the crane. Okay, so here we have our completed crane assembly. And usually in a situation like this, we would have an HDSDI cable running out from the camera to director's monitor so that or an operator's monitor so that they can actually see what the camera is filming. And we wouldn't want to really put anything else on the front of the camera because that would add more weight to the whole crane setup here. And we want to keep it as light as possible just for safety purposes. It's available for rent at Charles Street, and it's a nice addition. It adds nice shots to your overall project. It's very nice and smooth.